Let me ask you a question. Why is every iterable object in Python not an iterator, but every iterator is iterable? Do you know the answer? Can you give me an answer to that? If you can't, then you need to watch this video to the end because I'll explain it first and I'll show you the differences between an iterable and an iterator. This right here is one of the foundation. This is one of the basics. And at the beginning, when we're learning, we get used to wanting the advanced stuff or wanting to understand the more complicated stuff. And we forget about the basic stuff that actually we need to be able to stand when it comes to those complicated stuff, to those advanced stuff. So that's what we're discussing here. This is going to be a series of how to improve your basics. It's going to be called Master Your Basics. Let's get started, guys. Okay, now let me explain what an iterable. An iterable in Python and in most programming languages is what we call anything that can be looped or iterated over. So what is an iterator? An iterator is what is returned when we pass an iterable object into the iter function. An iterator holds a countable number of values that can be iterated upon. Basically, an iterator is used to iterate over the iterable object like a list, a string, a tuple, and so many more in Python. Okay guys, let's write some code now. Let me show you this. On the iteration of an iterator, it returns each element one by one. Right here we have our Python. I'm using PyCharm. You can use whatever you want. You create your project, then you create your Python file. The first thing we'll do is we'll create a Python list. And you know I need to put my comments because I love my comments. So create a list. We set it equal to ham. I'm sorry for the vegetarians here or the vegans. Chicken, fish. Yeah, so sorry for the vegans. Now we're going to print it just to see what we have here. We'll print list, run it. Run it, and you can see we have ham, chicken, and fish. What we'll do next, guys, is we'll iterate through this list using a for loop. I'll just say for elements in list, we want to print elements. So this is some basic Python code, but I want to show you the differences. Now you see we've gotten every element, ham, chicken, and fish. And we can do the same thing for a tuple. I can just change this to tuple. And we know how tuples are. It's not the square bracket. Showing you your basic data structures here too. It's this. And then here we'll say in tuple. I can see right here we get the same thing. We changed our list to a tuple and we iterate over it. FYI, the difference between a tuple and a list is that a list is mutable while a tuple is immutable. This tuple right here is an iterable. The list is an iterable. They can be iterated over. Now let me show you what an iterator is in Python. So let me explain an iterator again. An iterator is an object that contains a countable number of values. So basically, an iterator is the object that can be iterated upon, meaning you can transverse through all the values. And in Python, an iterator is an object which can be implemented with the iter protocol, which consists of the methods iter and also next. This is why in the first example I showed you a list and a tuple because these are iterable containers which we can get an iterator from. And all these objects like the tuple and the list have an iter function which we can get the iterator from. So let me show you guys. Right now I'll create a variable called my iter function. We'll set that equal to, you can see right here when I click on iter, it shows iter and then it says iterable. So right now we'll put as its input our iterable. In our case is the tuple. So what we can do now is we can just say print, I'll say next, and you can see it shows us I, and in this case I'll just put my iter function. So now let's run this. And I'll comment this out because I don't want us to get confused from the previous one. And also because I don't want to print this, I need to put pass right here so we don't get an error. And we run it. And you can see right here we get ham. And what was ham? Ham is this. Ham is the first on our list. If we want to get the other one, we just copy this and paste it. And now we get chicken. Can do it again, and we get fish. Now let's do it a fourth time. We get an error. The iterables are our tuple, our list, our dictionaries, while the iterator is this right here. While the iterator is an object that contains the countable number of values. What you need to know about the iter method is that the iter method must always return the iterator object itself. And for the next method always returns the next item in the sequence. That's why you saw that when we did the fourth time, it actually gave us an error. And you can see that the error, let's read the error message. The error message says, stop iteration. And yes, guys, that's it for this series on Masters of the Basics. Hopefully you understand the difference between iterable and also an iterator. If you learned and enjoyed this video, please leave a like for the YouTube algorithm. I know what, I'll wrap this up and I'll see you all on the next one.